wanted to do a little vlog about what aphantasia is. I kind of touched on it a little bit when I did my 22 Facts About Me video, and I've done a little bit of research on it, and I guess maybe the video isn't going to be so much about what it is, but more how it affects me. I've seen a lot of people describe aphantasia a bunch of different ways. Some people call it like the lack of an imagination. Some people call it the inability to visualize. And I think that's more where I fall. I watched a video from one of the Discovery Channel networks, and I don't remember exactly what it was. If I can find it, I'll link it in the description. But it was basically saying that aphantasia is the inability to create mental images. Like, okay, one of the things they were saying was, maybe if you hear somebody say the phrase, picture in your head, like, oh, okay, picture in your head, a dog wearing tap shoes. Most people can bring up a visual in their minds. I can't. I don't have that ability. It just doesn't happen. And I was thinking a lot about, how that affects me and my day-to-day life. I think I first kind of realized that there was a term for it, or that something might be wrong. I think I was in college by the time I figured it out. There were signs when I was younger. Specifically, I have a lot of trouble with geometry. I did really well in math in high school. I pulled barely C's in geometry. I could not tell you. It just didn't make sense to me. Clearly it's, the logistics of it are there. I understand that. But it didn't connect. And I struggle with it. There are very distinct times I remember sharing, swapping homework with my little sister, with Karen, and Karen would do my, 2 levels higher geometry homework while I did her algebra, because algebra just came so much easier to me. It was a puzzle, not a visualization. And there was a time where I was on vacation with my parents, and we were down on Long Beach Island, and Karen was in the bed, and I was on an air mattress on the floor, and I remember just talking out loud the first time about how I thought my brain was broken because it couldn't make pictures, and I've had conversations since then with other people that kind of allude to that, but nobody really understood until a couple of years ago, I believe, and I will link this in the description as well. A guy who's an engineer for Facebook wrote about his struggles with aphantasia. And for the first time, I was able to read something and be like, I get it. This is me. This is my connection. I understand this. I have a lot of difficulty describing how my brain processes visualizations because it doesn't, but I tend to relate a lot more to the other senses. If somebody asks me to think about, my mom, I think about her in a really broad sense. I'll think about a sweater of hers in specific and what it feels like. I know it's a pink sweater. I know what pink looks like, but I don't necessarily see my mom in her pink sweater in my mind. Describing how I connect with, what I know is true, my hair is pink. I know what pink is. But it reads a lot more like words on a page in my mind. Lists of descriptions. I was talking over the summer with a friend of mine, and we were talking about Dungeons and Dragons. And he's one of the most incredible dungeon masters I've ever met in my life. He can immerse you in a story like nobody else. But one of the things that I struggled with the only time I've actually attempted to play D&D was that I couldn't picture what was going on. It was like a story with no words, and that was really difficult for my brain to comprehend. So I slowly and gradually left the group, and they turned my character into an astral projection and soulbound me to an ex-boyfriend, which is a little strange, but that's for another story. What my friend does in his campaigns that I've seen, because I haven't participated in any at this point, but he brings like physical things into being. Like there was one point where his characters were going to a secret ball and they needed invitations, so he physically made the invitations for them. You know, he really brings physical parts of this world into his stories. And I think for me, that made it a lot more engaging, a lot more interesting. I just don't have the vividity and visualization up there to continue a story. I was talking with another friend of mine on the comments of my 22 Facts About Me video, and my friend is also a spontaneous reader. In addition to being a spontaneous reader, she also has aphantasia. So it made me wonder if my ability to read and read quickly affected how my brain works, or vice versa. You know, when I read a story, specifically fiction, and there's a reason why I've been straying away from fiction lately, it's because I don't generate anything up here to go with it. It's just reading through the words. And I have really bad retention when it comes to that too. So talking with my friend Allie, Shorty Bishop, she's explaining to me how her mind goes into vivid detail and generates, beautiful pictures and stories to match the words on a page. And I'm like, I don't do that. I can't do that. It's really interesting to see how I've been able to adapt. Because I'm 30. I have lived with this my entire life. And I think one of the ways that I can describe is, do you guys know that episode of Futurama where Fry gets infected with that parasite, and all of a sudden he knows how to play the holophoner really beautifully and just generate all of these beautiful images and all that, and Leela falls in love with him, and he's not sure if she falls in love with him or what the worms turned him into, and at the end of everything he tries to take holophoner lessons, and he starts to play, and he generates this very, very shaky image of Leela. And that's about as good as my mind can get if you ask me to picture something. It's not great. It's shaky. Sometimes there's blurs and shapes and colors, but it's never like a crystal clear picture. I have an easier time of things if I'm able to connect it to another sense. So for me, music, I've always been very, very fond of music, very musical myself. I have a better recollection of things like music videos than I do of still images. Like this is where I struggle to define things. Because if you ask me about, say, the music video for R.E.M's Losing My Religion, I can tell you, oh yeah, there's scenes where Michael Stipe is standing on a box and there's light shining down on him and he's looking, very, very much like a fallen angel. And there's scenes of characters with wings and people in gardens. But I don't see them, I just remember that. And I don't know if I'm doing a good enough job of describing this to you. I don't know if this is raising more questions than it would otherwise. But I know several people now who have aphantasia. And everybody experiences it a little differently. I can only speak on behalf of me because I can't see anybody else's mind. I don't know if this is how it works for everyone. I don't know if my recollection is a little better. I remember in school people saying like, oh, try not to imagine a dog with 3 legs riding a skateboard down the sidewalk. And I'm like, that's easy for me. It's also much easier for me to recall things that I have already seen once or seen before, rather than something that is brand new. It's a lot easier for me to associate with things that I have seen versus things that I have never seen. So like if I've never seen something, there's no way I'd be able to recall it in my brain or to attempt to depict it in my brain, because it just won't do that. I will say, if you know somebody with aphantasia, please don't tell them that, oh wow, I don't know how you live like this. I'm the complete opposite. My brain works overdrive. I can't not imagine. Because that's actually kind of hurtful. I've been told this several times. And it's like, gee, thanks for rubbing it in. I physically am unable to do this. So you're telling me that you do this in excess is just kind of twisting the knife. Anyway, I think that's it. This is kind of a strange video to be coming out on a Wednesday, I know. But I wanted to kind of lay it out there. I know some people had questions about it on both the Smashers Discord. If you guys are curious about that, I'll leave a link in the description to see where you can come hang out with us. And also just people on Twitter had been talking about it. So I wanted to share my experiences. I think a little bit later on, Karen and I are going to do a video because Karen, as you may know, has an incredibly active imagination and is able to do all kinds of amazing things with her brain that I can't. So I think we were planning on doing a video talking about how we work together, how we are able to use both of our strengths to work as a team, and struggles that I've faced as a result. I will tell you that I have an incredibly difficult time with clothing patterns, because if something isn't going the way I want it to go, I can't see the way it could also go. This has been a point of contention several times while working on costumes in the past. But yeah, if you have any questions at all that you think I might be able to shed some light on to give a little bit more background information on, let me know down below. I'll be glad to answer as best as I can. I'll link all of the things that I've talked about in the description to kind of give you guys some more information that's a bit more scientific than me vlogging. And yeah, if you like these kind of storytime videos or just vlogs, why don't you follow the channel? I've got a couple more of these. I'll link at the end. I'll link the story of the time that I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Later.